good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Good evening. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I don't know if it would be a good question to ask why you want to run for president, or I should just ask, why do you think you are the man the NPP should use to replace Nana Akufo-Addo?
Well, both questions are almost the same. I think that it's very simple. I mean, we have a leader for every time, and I think this is the time that you need a leader like Joe Ghartey, somebody who has gone through the mill, as it were. I mean, when I was Attorney General under President Kufuor's government, nothing happened without the Attorney General's okay, so to speak. I mean, I remember breed down negotiation. I was there, energy. I was there in sports, all the media and everything, agriculture and so forth, involved in everything. Then after that, we became deputy speaker. People underestimate the role of parliament, but I think now that it's 137, 137, they'll become clear to people that governance is not just from the executive, but the legislature is also key. I was deputy speaker for 4 years, and I worked very well with Honorable Dwaja, Honorable the first deputy speaker, Honorable Martin Odro. Indeed, in our time, both of them would first Dwaja will sit for a while, then he gives it to Martin Odro, and they'll hand over to me. And people who were in Parliament at that time will tell you that I'll be the chair till about 10 o'clock in the night. And what it was that you had to even pay attention to when they were sitting. Otherwise, when you come and take the chair, they will confuse you. They will try and reintroduce something that they have been turned out earlier on. So I had to keep my eye on the ball. And thankfully, that also gave me a lot of exposure. And then I went to the railway sector, which in my view, I stand to be correct, of course, is the most difficult infrastructure sector to do. I mean, you want to put a port, you go into the sea. You don't deal with issues of land rights and all of that, people demanding compensation. Build 1 kilometer of railway line, and you see the number of people who come and claim rights on that land. So I think that by God's grace, I've passed through the mill and I have the experience and expertise at this time to present myself to the good people of Ghana and to give them that kind of leadership that they will need from day one. This was the time for us to have experiments. You must have the experience, and I think I have it.
It's interesting that amongst the achievements, you mentioned your immediate past job in the executive, which is where you were the Minister for Railway Development, a new ministry created by the Akufo-Addo administration in its first term. In my view, and in the view of many, the biggest problem for you at that ministry is that you promised to deliver us sky trains. 6 or 7 years on, we don't even have land trains. How do you defend that?
If you hadn't asked me this question, Umaru Sanda, I would have given you a present. Because I knew that. Because for you, that's your biggest question you can ask. I'm very glad you asked that question. You must understand, first of all, I must tell you clearly what happened. In 20, we were approached by South Africans who said that they could build a sky train on a BOT basis, build, operate, and transfer. Because the amount of money that they were talking about per kilometer, we didn't have it in the budget. What I had been given, or the limit I had been given, was a limit of $2 billion. And that $2 billion was going to be used for the Teman-Pakada railway line and the Western railway line. And also, if you remember, one media review budget, the finance minister mentioned $200 million to start the Accra to Kumasi line. And so these people came in 2018 and said that they will do BOT. BOT means build, operate, and transfer. And so they did an MOU. We signed an MOU with them. And they came back after doing some initial studies, what I'll call a pre-feasibility study or a feasibility study. And said now they were in the position to go for it and raise money and so on. They have talked to African Development Bank and so on. So we should sign a concession agreement. I said to them that they wanted it for 30 years. I said to them that there's no way I can sign an agreement for a fixed term of years unless I have not a feasibility study, but a complete costing of the project. That is the basis upon which I can say I've been an attorney general before. So I don't sign contracts for nothing. Well, 2019 we went to South Africa. We signed the contract, and they were supposed to come and do the full feasibility and then come out, then we can finish doing all the conditions present for the contract. You know that even if the contract is signed, it's brought to Parliament, that doesn't mean to be finished. STX was brought to Parliament. Atamo's president said that he has sent President Obama to South Africa to put a nail in the coffin.
South Korea.
If you look at South Korea, yes. If you look at the contract that I signed, there were 10 conditions precedent. One, you have to finish your full feasibility. Two, it had to come to Parliament. It had to go to Public Procurement Agency. It had to do a value for money audit. It had to go to, there were about 10 condition precedents. What people don't understand is that you can't come into Ghana and tell me that I'm going to do beauty, and I'm sitting there and I'll just sign and give you a 10 and go. No, so I didn't do that. 2019, 2020, South Africa was locked down. I wonder whether, Omar, you had a special permission for them to come and do the full feasibility. They couldn't even leave their country. Me and you know that I was locked down. And if you ask me whether I'll do statue when I come, that's now I don't know the fact. What I know that I will do is that I'll put an eye on the railway, and we need a form of rail system within Accra and within Kumasi, because we cannot continue having. I mean, look at the petrol crisis that came recently. If you had a train, it would have changed everything. In what country, developed country in the world, do people depend solely on car? So it's a non-brainer to me. I mean, it would transform this economy. If you look at the history of Ghana, listen, the Gold Coast was about 1/3 of the size of Ghana today. They started the railway line. The British started the railway line in 1898. There was a debate between the miners and the agriculturists where they should start from. The miners wanted them to come to the western region. The agriculturists wanted the eastern region. The miners won. Because at that time, the governor was a guy called Mackay, who had come from Bali, where they had used tin for railway. He started the railway line in 1878. He reached Kumasi in 1902, 5 years. He went to, the plan was not to go to Kumasi first. It was just to go to Obuasi, where the gold is. But after the Yas and Flower War in 1901, they decided to go to Kumasi by 1902 to enable them to take soldiers there. At that time, as you are well aware, Setekwasi had brought cocoa to the eastern side of Ghana. Somehow, the cocoa found its way to the western side of Ghana. Within 30 years, by 1930, because of the railway line, West Africa, Ghana had become the world's largest producer of cocoa, and it has become the richest British colony. Railway infrastructure will transform our economy. I have no doubt about that in my mind.
Honorable, so there's no doubt about the essence of railway. I've been pushing for that myself. Many people push that transport sector is what we should fix. You were given 4 years to fix that. You did not do it. I mean, you didn't deliver the Sky Train. You've just explained why. But you didn't even deliver any rail line at all. In fact, as we speak, the rail line that was signed by Mahama's government before they left, the one to Mpakadang, is still under construction, even though it looks very good. I have seen it. As we speak, I don't remember the last time I saw a train move from Tema or Nsawam, not Nsawam, Amasaman, to Accra Central. It's something I usually see, even though they're rickety, except for the one that Atamils brought, the one with the Ghana flag. We don't even see them moving at Kwame Nkrumah Circle anymore. People have literally put kiosks on the rail line because they know that nothing is going to move here. And I'm saying that you had 4 years to fix that and you did not fix it. Why should we then give you a bigger job of being the president?
That's why I totally disagree with you. When I was Minister for Railway, the train started moving.
Is it the one that derailed in the Western region?
I mean, the wheels were moving. And let me make the point that the trains that what they call the Ghana flag, it was first brought by Kufuor. It was Kufuor who brought it, not Jomama. Not Atamos. Let's get it right.
Which one? I'm referring to the one that is in Ghana flag, the red, gold, green one. That one I recall it was brought by Atamos.
There are 4 red, gold, green ones. There were 4.
Okay.
Kufuor brought 2, Atamos brought 2.
No problem.
Kufuor brought 2 first.
No problem. And under your administration in 4 years, you didn't bring a single coach, did you?
The second thing is that because we're changing from narrow gauge to standard, you see, what about the railway line? The railway, you see, if you are building the narrow gauge, the railway runs on a gauge, not like the road. Now, we decided to change from the narrow gauge to the standard gauge. So during my time, that was when we were building the new standard gauge lines. And let me say something. You say the contract was signed by John Mahama and so on and so forth, or at the most. It's a continuum. That whole project was first designed under President Kufuor. That was when all the flexibility, everything was done. I don't expect that when I leave, the thing that I started the Obuasi line. I started the line that today is going to Takwa and beyond, over 100 kilometers. But I've left, so the next minister is continuing. And so if the lines are not running now, when I was there before COVID, we had done the Accra Tema line, it was running. Before COVID, we were running the Accra Takwa line, yes, it failed once, but it was running. Because we're still running on the narrow gauge, and we are still building the new standard gauge. In fact, standard gauge line was built under my time. And for the contract that was designed by President Kufuor and was signed by Atemos was Accra, Tema, Akosovo. It wasn't Tema Pakadan. And that contract could not be executed because at the time it was signed or designed in 2006, we didn't have all the threats that we have today. But the minute I became the railway minister, I went to look at it. I said, well, we can't go 60 meters away from the Akosombo Dam. And we can't have a rail line which is passing through the Akosombo Dam. I asked the engineers whether it would affect the Akosombo Dam. They started arguing with me. I didn't know there were as many opinions as their engineers. And then I said, well, put it down in writing. And they said to me that they cannot guarantee the integrity of the dam because that place is rock. So you have to dig a tunnel 1.3 kilometers. I wasn't going to get the show with the Akosombo Dam broken down. And so what happened was that the contract was dead on our arrival. It was me who advised President Akufo-Addo and Cabinet that we can go across the Volta region. And then we decided to go to Mpakanen. And that also began the journey to Burkina Faso.
Final one on the rail sector. The South African company, did we pay any money to them?
Not my ministry.
Okay. Let's move on. The NPP as a party is what you have to lead first before Ghanaians would give you the nod if they want to. What is your constituency in the NPP? Why should they go for you, considering the other people you are going against? Sorry, no, but I'm losing you.
The point about what you're saying, this whole thing is that I have given my word that I'll run a decent campaign. And I'm going to the NPP directly to talk to them. What I will say for the benefit of all listeners, including those who are not in NPP, is that at this time, I think I'm best.
Oh, but there's a problem with your gadget. I'm hearing you with an echo and sounding muffled at a point. Can you try and reestablish that point?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, better. Thank you. Okay.
I said that I have given my word to the two former presidents, also to myself, that I'll run a decent and neat campaign. There are things that I must say to only NPP members, and I know that your station is for the general public, the public at large. So all I'll say is that I'm of the firm opinion that at this stage of Ghana's development, I have what it takes to lead Ghana, and I'll give you solid and honest leadership.
Solid and honest leadership. If you were the one faced with the current economic quagmire, what would be your leadership? Would you, do you subscribe to the current debt restructuring program by the government?
But what I'm happy about is that disclosure has been postponed once more. And I will say that we need to engage a little bit more. And I'm happy that the finance ministry, I think it's still the third time it has postponed disclosure. So what does it tell me? It tells me that the finance ministry is listening. And let me just talk to you about this economic difficulties we are in. So much negotiation is going on at this time. What I know from business and from law and from everything is that when two parties are negotiating, if certain people state certain positions, it can affect the negotiation. If I wasn't running for presidency, I was not a member of the party, I was not a senior member of the party, I would be able to put across so many things. But I think that just now, if I have solutions, I should say it inside. And in fact, I'm saying it inside. All I'm saying is that government is listening more, and I'm happy. But of course, if I was the leader today, there are certain things I would do. I would cut certain expenditure. For example, in the area of free SHS. And nobody should quote me wrongly. I'm not saying that I'll abolish the free SHS. It will exist as a general rule, but I'll make exceptions. Article 71 office holders, for example, will not enjoy free SHS. You want to be a minister in my government, then you want to enjoy free SHS. You want your children to enjoy free SHS, then leave it and then go and enjoy free SHS. There are several categories of people who I think can afford, and they must afford. If you are a single mother, and like my mother was a single mother who was a teacher, of course, free SHS is welcome. And so I have been through that situation before, so I expect it. But Joe Ghartey in his present position should be able to pay his children's school fees.
And in terms of ministers, the size of government of this current president has been questioned a number of times. You were part of his bloated government in the first term. Would you go with that same line, appointing 111 ministers if you got the nod to be president of Ghana?
First of all, I take exception to your characterization of his presidency as bloated.
No, not his presidency, his government.
His government was bloated. I take exception to that because it was part of his philosophy at the time. And let me tell you something. When I was Attorney General, President Kufuor wanted to create a new ministry for aviation. And I said the Attorney General does the LI that creates the ministry. The executive instrument. I asked President, why do you want to create a ministry for aviation away from transport? And he said, well, sometimes when you want to focus on something, you create a ministry for that thing. After you have achieved the aim, you can bring it back. I think that if President Akufo-Addo had not created a ministry for railways, you wouldn't even ask me questions about railways. At least at the very least, you're in a position to ask me questions about railways. And even though you think that nothing has been done, I can tell you that since independence to when he created a ministry for railways, there's never been any error that as much railway has been constructed. The Temampaka Dam, which you say was done by in some other time, I disagree with you. The construction was in President Akufo-Addo's time. He was not under any obligation to do it. And also over 100 kilometers from Accra from Takwari to Huni Valley, signed another contract for 60 kilometers from around Kumasi to Obuasi. And so perhaps if it didn't happen, if it was just part of transport, I don't know, and somebody has been a transport minister, perhaps you wouldn't have focused there because it's quite a difficult thing. The question is that we still need the railway ministry, and what are our current circumstances? If I was president in our current circumstances, don't forget that when President Akufo-Addo by 2019 we're going at a rate of 9%, which is remarkable. But just now we have a post-COVID situation. We have a situation at hand. I have a maximum of 60 ministers, 19 cabinet ministers, 16 regional ministers. That you have to do is constitutional. Every region must have a minister. That takes you to 35. We have 25 ministers more, deputy ministers, and then ministers of state. I have a maximum of 60 ministers.
Wish you all the best, and thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Well, thank you too, and God bless you.
I was going to say thank you, Your Excellency, but I've withheld that until you get elected.
Well, you must. I heard you must be in the. You see, you nearly prophesied, but you lost the opportunity of prophesying. But thank you to your listeners. To at least I invaded their privacy today, and even if they didn't agree with everything, I say thank you.
Very well, but someone is just nudging me to ask you this: whether does it mean you've kissed Sekendi goodbye?
Oh, that one I said it.
I mean, Esikado, sorry.
I said it before the election. Before the election, I was interviewed by Radio 360, and they asked me that question, and I told them that I won't run again. And then, as I see radio interview, I said I won't run again. So
Okay.
I've kissed it goodbye.
Very well. Thank you so much. We'll do another interview later where we'll do an analysis of your servitude. But thank you and have a good night.
Have a good night too. Thank you.
That's the Honorable Joe Ghartey. He's Member of Parliament for Esikado Ketan, former Minister for Railway.